Imagine this, you are walking through a busy street in India, surrounded by brilliant minds. Some are reading, some are discussing the latest advancements in technology. You stop to wonder, why hasn't anyone in India won the Nobel Prize in Science almost a century? Especially when we are known for incredible contributions to science and technology. In fact, the last Indian to win the Nobel Prize while working in India was C.V. Raman, and that was way back in 1930, nearly 100 years ago. It's puzzling, right? Why is this happening? Why are we falling short? What is stopping us from reaching that golden pinnacle of global recognition again? Well, let us unravel the mystery behind this. Let us dig deep into the heart of Indian science and see where the roadblocks are. By the end of this video, we will explore how it impacts India and what lessons we can learn to shape our future. Let us rewind to 1930. Indian scientist C.V. Raman was working in India, achieved something very remarkable. His discovery of the Raman effect in physics earned him a Nobel Prize. It was a very proud moment, not just for Raman, but for the entire country. India was on the map of world-class science. But here is the surprising part. That was the last time India celebrated a Nobel Prize in sciences while a scientist was working within India. Since then, there have been Indian origin scientists like Hargovind Khurana, Subramanian Chandrasekhar, Venkatraman Ramakrishnan, who won Nobel Prizes in medicine, physics and chemistry. But here is the catch. They all did their work outside India. These brilliant minds had left India to pursue their research in countries like US or the UK. But why did they have to leave in the first place? What is the missing piece that prevents Indian scientists from winning Nobel Prizes while staying in India? To understand why this gap exists, let's look closely at some of the challenges facing science in India. One major reason is the lack of attention to basic research. Now, basic research is all about exploring new ideas and understanding the fundamental principles without immediate practical applications. It is this type of research that often leads to groundbreaking discoveries, the kind that wins Nobel Prizes. But in India, this type of research hasn't received enough focus. Another major hurdle is low public funding. Research requires money, lots of it. Scientists need advanced labs, equipment and resources. But in India, the funding for science and research is very limited. Countries like the US, Germany spend much more on research and development, R&D, compared to India. Without enough money, it is hard to create an environment where scientists can explore bold ideas and make big discoveries. And then there is the issue of bureaucracy. Have you ever tried to do something simple but found yourself entangled in red tape? That is what scientists in India often face. There are too many rules, delays, approvals that slow down the work. Instead of focusing on their research, scientists sometimes have to spend their energy navigating the system. Add to this the lack of opportunities for private research. In many countries, private companies and organizations fund a lot of the research that leads to Nobel Prize winning discoveries. But in India, private investment in science is still very small. Without this support, the pool of potential Nobel Prize winners shrinks even further. Now, it is not that as if Indians haven't come close to winning again anything. There have been several who are nominated for the Nobel Prize. Just like being nominated for an Oscar, it is a huge honor in itself. Great minds like Meghnan Saha, Homi Bhabha, and Satyendranath Bose were nominated for the Nobels in Physics. G. N. Ramachandran and T. Sheshadri were in the running for Chemistry Prize, and Upendranath Brahmachari was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine. All of them were recognized for their significant contributions, but sadly, none of them won. It was also worth noting that Jagdish Chandra Bose, who was the first person to demonstrate wireless communication, yes, before Marconi, was never even nominated. It is an unfortunate truth that sometimes recognition comes too late or not at all. Another key factor we must consider is the dominance of Western countries in the Nobel Prizes. When you look at the data, large number of Nobel winners comes from countries like the US, UK and Germany. Scientists from these regions have access to advanced labs, abundant funding and an established research culture that fosters innovation. On the other hand, countries like India, China and even Israel, despite being powerhouses in technology and research, haven't seen as many Nobel Prize winners in science. China, which spends 3 times more than India on R&D, has only produced 3 science Nobel Prize winners. Israel, with a strong significance ecosystem, has won just 4. South Korea, despite its achievements in technology, has none. So it is not an Indian problem. It is a global issue where countries outside the Western world face barriers to Nobel successes. Now that we have explored the reasons, let us talk about how this lack of Nobel success impacts India. Firstly, not winning these prestigious awards can affect India's global reputation in science. While India is known for its IT industry and space missions, winning Nobel Prizes in science would signal that we are at the forefront of world-class research. Secondly, it can impact innovation. Nobel Prizes often lead to more investments in research and inspire younger generations to pursue science. Without this global recognition, we might lose out on motivation the next wave of great Indian scientists. And lastly, the stagnation can affect scientific policy making. Countries that produce Nobel winners often invest more on their research infrastructure. Without this external validation, the push for greater investment in science might slow down. So what lessons can India learn from this change? 1. We need to increase funding for basic research. Instead of focusing solely on applied science or technology, we need to encourage curiosity-driven exploration, the kind of research that leads to groundbreaking discoveries. 2. Cut down the bureaucracy. Let us make it easier for scientists to focus on their work. By simplifying the research process, we allow scientists to spend more time in labs and less time dealing with the red tapes. 3. We need to involve the private sector. Now, more private companies should invest in scientific research. Collaboration between industry and academia should lead to innovative discoveries and solutions. And finally, let's invest in our universities. Universities are where most Nobel-worthy research begins. By strengthening the university research programs and providing opportunities for young scientists, India can create an ecosystem that fosters discovery. So we have explored why India hasn't won a Nobel Prize in Science in 94 years. We have seen the challenges from low funding to bureaucratic hurdles, and we have also discussed what needs to change. But here is the big question for you. What can we as a society do to support Indian science and help our brilliant minds reach their full potential? How can we encourage the next generation of scientists to dream big and aim for the stars? It is time for India to reclaim its place in the global scientific community. Let us spark a new era of innovation ones that leads to breakthroughs that could change the world, perhaps even with the next Nobel Prize in Science.